Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dota show, episode number 12, and we are doing 4v5 Dota today. Notice the title is 4.5v5, we'll get into exactly why that's later, but before we get into the show, I really want to tell you guys about my weekend. If you haven't read my blog post on DotaCommentaries.com, that might interest you, but I went with my family to Disneyland, which was really fun. I had a mandate with Purge Gamers, which was less fun because we kept getting lost. Purge Gamers sense direction, let's just say worse than mine, and when you're worse than an Asian dude, it's and then of course we had a 3-day trip on to San Francisco. That was quite fun, saw a lot of cool landmark, but most of all I got like sunburned, my legs are sore, and I got back like just last night and I had to prepare for this this Dota show, the Learning with Lumi segment for today. Hopefully it's gonna be good. I mean, I spent like 5-6 hours on it, but you never know. But yeah, a lot of my relatives came from China, so it's just chilling. What's more tiring than sitting on a bus for like 3 days because you're touring all around is watching like 3 or 4 cousins who is between the age of 9 and 12 while sitting on the bus. That is insane. They are people that needs to be constantly entertained. And I find myself a decently entertaining fellow, but the fact that I have to entertain 4 or 5 kids at the same time, man, that was insane. But it was pretty cool. Like, I was the oldest kid around, if you will, and we play a lot of like nursery games, like games that you play really young. I'm not sure if you actually play this in the United States or you're in Europe, but I know back in China, one of the games that you do play, I have no idea what the name's called. Perhaps people in chat will let us know. Is you have 2 groups of people, right? One group with 1 person in it, and the other group with a whole bunch of people in it. That 1 person is called the eagle or the hawk, whatever. And then the other group is comprised of the mother hen and the baby chicken at the back, right? So the hawk is trying to get to this baby chick, right? And the mother hen is trying to block off the hawk. So basically you have a really long line that's moving back and forth trying to dodge this hawk. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Because I have... No one knows what I'm talking about. So since I'm the biggest one, I'm the oldest one, right? I was called the mother hen. I was in the front trying to block off and protect my children. Although mother hen seems to be the wrong gender. The big cock is the... Wow, so we play a lot of nursery games, and that was pretty fun. And I got back and I was really sore, really sunburned, really tired, but I was very thankful that things at DC ran very smoothly. The tournaments, the World Tour was doing quite well. The Dota show had great substitutes, so it was all good. And now I'm back. I'm feeling recharged, and I'm ready to go. So let's actually jump into the replay. We are gonna be talking about 4v5 Dota, and today's replay is going to be from the World Tour, Beyond the Summit World Tour, which, by the way, if you don't have the pass and would like to watch these commentaries in-game, or in your own Dota 2, it's only $3.99. $3.99 is like a meal. You get it and support the cause. In any case, this is eHome versus Complexity. I have no idea which game this is, whether this is an elimination match or not. And today we're going to be focusing on eHome. They are a hero today, particularly on Broodmother and Lone Druid. I mean, the title really gives it away. This is a 4v5 kind of thing. So you can imagine what King J is going to be doing 4v5-esque. Is it a rooster? It's a cock, right? Guys, don't think about it the other way. A male chicken, right? A male chicken is a rooster, you're right. Wow, let's move on from this point. Alright, 4v5 Dota. Now, a couple of things already happening into the game. I think we should actually pause and let you guys, actually look at what happened in the game so far. So we have Sand King, Tinker, Sven, Prophet, and the Venomancer on Complexity side. And meanwhile, on the eHome side, we have a Broodmother, Chen, Storm Spirit, Lone Druid, and Lion. Our hero today, King J, right? We are 10 minutes in the game. He is 0-2-0. Not too good. 26 creep kills, right? So, yeah. Let's look at his current gold earn, or total gold earn. He's actually less than his own Chen, and, really on par with the support line. That's how badly King J is doing. And look at the enemy team, right? A 3,800 gold earn. Sven, Prophet's not doing too bad. Tinker's doing great. These two supports are a little bit far behind for now, but they're not doing too bad, especially relatively to a semi-carry. So King J's got an uphill, a huge hill for him to climb, and let's see if he's going to be climbing out of it. Of course, we saw his tower being pushed down. Hopefully this text will go away. There you go. And also on the rebuttal that the tier 1 and tier 2 for complexity got pushed down as well. So in terms of tower, Ehom is actually leading for a bit, but right now King J is suffering very, very much so. So when I say Brewmother and when I say 4v5, the obvious thought to many of you guys who watch Dota for more than a month is that Brewmother is one of those heroes that will be pushing towers as soon as you leave her alone. Oh look, there's going to be a 3 or 4 man engagement up top, up in the mid lane. King J says, alright, this is time to push. It's going to be up to his teammates to be trying their best to defend. And you can see that suddenly, immediately, we see the Brewlings flying across the map, or flying across the lane, and going right on this tower, You know what this reminds me? If you actually haven't checked out that YouTube video, what is the name? It's made by, like, Flask Korean? I'll include a link at the end, and of course I'll include it in the description. Ehom, by the way, they're going to lose a couple of heroes from the get-go, but they're going to defend this eventually. Meanwhile, Brewmother getting work to the tower. And Dota 2 is all about pushing towers, and these Spirelings are very good at surrounding that tower and killing it very much so. Any case, Perion Flax, thank you Rainmaster. If you haven't checked out that Dota 2 guide by Perion Flax, check it out, because it is the most hilarious thing. It's nothing to do with what we're talking about today, but, oh, sort of does. And this is the power of Brewmother, right? If suddenly a teamfight lasts for at least 10-15 seconds, Brewmother just goes to work. Well, you guys know this. You guys have been watching Dota for more than 2 months, so great. You know, that's the strength of a Brewmother. If you leave her alone, she'll take down your tower. Why are we calling this show a 4v5? Isn't she contributing to the team right now? Like, she just took down tier 1 tower. She did. Great contribution from the Brewmother. I call it 4v5 Dota in halftime at the very least. It's because you can see this tier 1, right? When this tier 1 push coming in from complexity, Brewmother had a teleport scroll, but she wasn't going to TP. Like, she really isn't going to TP. The only time she really TP to join a 5v5 fight is for a Rax defense or for a Roshan engagement. Any other time, she's going to just sit in her webs in her lane and just be pretty. Like, she's going to look pretty, she's going to be killing creeps, and that's kind of why I call it a 4v5 Dota. Basically, for 80% of the game, she is going to be, quote-unquote, not doing anything in team fights. But despite of what I said, I think that's kind of a myth. I think that's kind of something that you want to not wrap your head around. You don't want to think about it like that. Even though Brewmother is not, you know, participating in those team fights, she's doing this, right? She's earning you 1,000 gold for your team. She's going to be doing this in just a bit. That's going to be yet another 1,200 gold, and she's going to be drawing TP Scroll. The TP Scroll that Complexity have to buy, yeah, they have to put money down the drain as well. So even though King J, on paper, has not been participating in any single team fight, right? Has done absolutely nothing. By the way, Roshan attempt by Ehom. Even though King J has not done absolutely nothing in terms of a heads-up engagement, he's doing very much so for his team. And that's why I call it like parentheses 4.5 versus 5, because even though you're not in fights, you're sort of helping your team. You're not there, but you're kind of always there. And that's the message I want to drive home right from the get-go. Immediately, again, a tier 2 push, just pressuring a little bit. We see a teleport girl comes in from Fluff and stuff, the Sand King player. Yeah, we're gonna just back off, no problem there. And that's exactly what he is gonna be doing throughout the entire game. It's gonna be getting very, very boring. Now, we had a lot of stuff happening throughout this, so I'm gonna have to resume and go back a little bit more, because there's some very, very key point I really want to talk about. You know, we saw Brewmother just kind of doing her thing. And you know, we're kind of ignoring what everything else is happening around us, which is very, very key to point out. First of all, what we're gonna see from Lion in just a bit is he is gonna be smoking. He really wants to set up a gank, right? If there's Brewmother, whoa, what the mother? This is Valve beta, because it's pretty insane. What Lion wants to do is really set up a smoke gank for his team. Like, he wants to use a Brewmother as a bait. That's why he's smoking in. Also, he's going to be putting a very, very aggressive ward over here. And let's actually look at the vision of that aggressive ward, right? What does it say? It sees right over here, which is absolutely key, because, you know, you're going to see TP gangs coming in. What the f... I'm sorry that I'm going to be getting very distracted. I know this is supposed to be an educational segment, but the fact that Valve is, you know, Dota 2 beta, We do have quite a bit of visual bugs, including a marching machine that goes across the map. In any case, let's go back to what is actually important, which is eHome X right here, going into very offensive parts of the map and dropping the wards just to protect a Brewmother. You might imagine, well, Brewmother, she's fine on her own, right? You don't actually need to do anything. I want to say that that's true half the time, but the other half the time, teams will be trying to gank you very, very aggressively. I think right now King J is not getting ganked is because of the poor start he had. Like, he was ganked constantly at the beginning of the game. That's where he had 2 deaths. That's why he's not getting ganked right now. But really good teams would like to gank Brewmother players quite a bit. If you watch the recent Mouseboard game where Sexy Bamboo played a Brewmother, he was ganked constantly, smoke ganks all the time. And things like this really, really help out. And we'll talk about that aggressive line play. It's just a little bit more. So we're right back up to where we were previously, and Fluff and Stuff is right back. So now the 2 players we're going to be watching mostly is King J, like I've been pointing out for the past 10-15 minutes, and of course Lone Druid. Lone Druid, one of his playstyle as well is to farm all day, get the Radiance, and kind of just do his thing. But if you can see his item build here, he is not really going to be going for the traditional lane carry. I know, by the way, this sounds really much so like a standard commentary. Don't worry, it's not really going to be a commentary. We're going to be only looking at one replay, but there's going to be a little bit of rewinding, there's going to be a little bit of pausing. It's not your standard commentary, which is kind of what I go for Learning with Lumi series. And this is exactly what we see from Lamb. He's going to really pay for it for killing this tower, but you can see that he right now is just so tanky at this point. And we're going to see the tankiness of Lamb starting to become a little bit of trouble later on in game. So far, right now, I want to point out the fact that there's only 2 stuns. There's the Sanking Burrow Strike and there's a Sven Stormhammer, which both of them has a fairly decent cooldown, but they're not the shortest cooldown in the world. And that's going to be an issue 15 minutes later once they're trying to kill stuff. Meanwhile, Hannah Montana is getting picked off by PCT Storm Spirit. Okay, so you might be saying, well, what's the big deal about these 4v5 Dota, or as I'm calling it, 4.5v5 Dota? Isn't it just very standard? You have Brewmother doing his thing on the bot lane, keep pushing it. And sometimes you duck in a jungle and farm, which we'll get into mentioning in just a bit. And of course you have 4 guys, right? Isn't that just standard? Like 4+1. We've seen this all the freaking time. Why do we actually want to spend a freaking hour to talk about this? Well, let's actually look at what the players are doing and what the players are not doing. So if you're carefully looking at the mini-map, you can see QQQ's actually been jungling for the past 5 minutes where we jumped in the game 10 minutes in. Till now, he's actually just been jungling. I mean, sure, he defended mid a little bit, you know, he attempted to defend. But for the most part, he's just sitting in the jungle. And that's not what you that's not what you see commonly from jungle players, or Chen players particularly. When you're playing a Chen, and when you see a pro player playing a Chen, you see them, you know, going for towers with his team very, very aggressively. Because Chen is not a hero that scales well into late game, so why isn't he pushing, right? Let's look at what we got on the Radiant side. These guys are really, really good at defending. Not only are they really good at defending with all their AoE spells, I actually don't think that we're going to take eHome can take a 4v5 fight while pushing. Now this is actually where 4v5, unless the eHome team is going to be pushing the bot lane with the help of Brewmother. If they're pushing up top, they're pushing up mid, it's actually a 4v5 push. And Chen, you know, despite being a very, very strong pusher, he's not the best teamfight hero in that sense, especially in the 4v5 situation. In 4v5, you either want really big AoE wombo combo like Black Hole, Ravage, all that stuff, or you want mobility. And Chen, unfortunately, don't really offer too much. I mean, Hand of God is sort of AoE, but you guys get my point. So that's why eHome can't actually really push. They can't actually take a 4v5 because Brewmother's not there. Now, eHome does have the option to push S5 on the bot lane, but they're choosing not to do so. I think they're choosing to farm instead. And right now, Lamb, by the way, going for Vlad's first, and that generally isn't the standard build because you want to go for a Relic Rush. And now adding to the Vlad's is a Necro Book, which is something that we never ever see. Necro Book, of course, adds more pushing power, which it will become very, very important in just about a couple minutes. And the fact that there's so much AoEs on the Radiant side, right? Cleave, Stormhammer, Epicenter, Burrow Strike. If any of these guys does kill the Necro Minion, it's rough. They're going to take some pure damage to the face, as well as the mana drain from the the minion is no joke, especially to melee heroes like the Sven. Alright, so again, this is on face value very, very simple. Chen is just jungling because they can't push. We have established that. So if you're in a situation in a game like this, Do you just keep farming and farming and farming? Well, you can, because in a game like this, you know, you have Syllabary, you have Storm Spirit, you have Broodmother, who are decent late game heroes. Let's suppose that you don't have the best late game heroes. Let's suppose you're on a clock. You have to end the game very soon because, I don't know, there's a Morphling on the enemy side, there's an Anti-Mage on the enemy side, and if the game gets too late, you know, you're going to be in trouble. So you can't just farm indefinitely. So what do you actually do from now and the time you decide to push, right? You can't just sit there and do nothing. And this is what you should be doing. The most mobile hero on your team is ganking as pairs. And this is one of the more aggressive ganking strat. Again, this is Chinese Dota, eHome Dota. They're known to be defensive. They're going to be putting wards very deep right here. There's going to be Zip against Jo. Jo's going to get immediately picked off. We're going to see a big team fight breaking out right here. Yep, there's a ward being placed there, and Lion's going to get picked off, not before he Dust and Fingers. PCT does have the Aegis Immortal. He's very low in terms of mana. He's going to have to pop the Aegis. Prophet goes down. PCT's going to die, and he's going to zip out just fine. So the end of that exchange, 2 for 2, or 2 for Aegis to be exact. So I'm just going to zip out. So overall, it was a fairly decent trade. Meanwhile, Broodmother, of course, will be fine, but look at the top lane. This is exactly what you want to be doing in a quote-unquote a 4+1 strat. Anytime that your team is really, oh, I don't know how Storm zip back and die, but anytime that your team is really distracting or pressuring, you go for pushes. And you can see that that's exactly what Lamb's doing. He's working on this tower, his bear doing so much demolish damage, and this tower is going to go down. Now, they're not going to get the racks, but it's quite alright. Trying to get denied attempt by Hannah. Hannah's going to get picked off by the bear as well. They're like, oh my god, the Arax is fully breached. Sand King comes in, Jo comes in, and of course Sven comes in as well, and you can see that Broodmother is already getting in position. It's as if they're saying, pick your poison, Complexity. You're going to try to defend up top, we're going to push up mid, or you can defend up top, we're going to push up bot. If you're going to defend bot, then we'll push up top. So this is kind of the central strategy. You want to be doing this all the time if this is your strategy of playing 4v5 quote-unquote and not going to do too much. You don't want to take on heads-up engagements because, again, King J is not going to be joining you. Again, X in position. Earlier he dropped the ward very aggressively and defensively to make sure that we don't have any surprise ganks from the tier 2 tower. And now he drops yet another extremely aggressive ward. We're going to be seeing what this is. Sees? Yep, exactly. The path going here to gank Broodmother. You might be saying, well, there's smokes to the seed. You can still gank the Brood if you really want to. And that's true. You could always gank the Brood if you really want to. But it's just an extra layer of assurance that Broodmother wants and needs. And, well, she's getting it. He's getting it because of the good plays of his teammates. And you can see that right now, again, there's an entire big push coming up on the top lane by Complexity. X is choosing not to TP, and Broodmother is choosing not to TP. They both have the TP. You may be saying, why aren't they doing it? That's not their game plan. They're saying, yeah, you can throw away a tier 2, but we're going to go for... You could take a tier 1, excuse me, but we're going to go for a tier 2 again. Again, Lion is being so very patient. He can't just pop in the trees and go for the gank. I really want to go into Radiant Vision right now. If you're ever ganking nighttime, excuse me, and if you want to gank this area, look at the positioning of Lion. He's completely within fog, and that's a positioning that you really want to be in right now. QQ is going to be dying, but no big deal, because Broodmother is going to be pushing, right? Broodmother is going to be pushing, and what is the natural response when Broodmother pushes? You either TP, if you don't, you lose the tower. And again, they lost a Chen, they lost like a tier 1, but numerically and monetarily, King J right now is doing quite well. I'd like to remind you, we joined the game about 10 minutes ago. 10 minutes exactly, 12 minutes ago, and now it's 22 minutes in the game. So that's quickly how we're doing in terms of current goal. You have to remember that King J was probably the lowest farmed member on his team. He's doing very, very poorly. Look at what he has been doing right now. For the past 12 minutes where I've been talking, he's basically farming and trying to last it every single creep as possible. I think we had a big clutch TP out from Longdri, which is no big deal. Yeah, we saw him just basically lasting every creep possible, and also jungling like absolutely crazy. And you might be saying, well, I mean, sure, we've seen Broodmother do this a lot of time. Is this, you know, something necessary to point out? I really believe so. A lot of players, or excuse me, a lot of heroes that play in a dissimilar role where you basically just sit yourself very, very deep into enemy territory and use your escape mechanism to survive and then keep farming. You know what hero I'm talking about. Broodmother, of course, what we're seeing right now. We see Morphlings do that all the time. If you want to go back a couple of months, Anti-Mage used to do this with this Battle Fury somewhere over here. Weaver loves to do this about a year back. And if you want to even go back further, a lot of heroes use their escape mechanism, their survivability, and just farm very aggressively. But if you continue to farm very, very aggressively, there's going to be a high chance that you're constantly being ganked. If you sit here for the next 50 minutes, I'm pretty sure Complexity will send gank party to you all day long because it's so easy to gank. It's a TP's away. It's very easy to gank, and that's why you want to duck your head into the jungle. You know, basically half the time. You really want to do so. Engagement happening in the mid lane here. And again, this is his team doing a lot of work. And suddenly, when we have work being done, Broodmother, look at what he's doing. He's going right on the tower. It doesn't even matter how the fight goes in the mid lane. It was a 1-for-1 trade, line for Tinker, good trade for eHome. But regardless of how that trade went, eHome is going to be just pressuring very much so on both lanes. It's really tough to stop this strat. And you might be saying, well, Complexity, why aren't they getting TP scroll? Why aren't they getting to all these places and try to counter push? I just want to point out Complexity always, well, he doesn't have the TP scroll now because he just TP'd here. They almost always have teleport scrolls. They have two global heroes, right? They have a Tinker, they have a Prophet, and despite of having two global heroes, they just cannot keep up with the pressure of eHome's applying because they're applying pressure basically everywhere. And we've seen, Broodmother do this all the time. We've seen Lone Druid all the time. But I think really what the icing on the cake is what the Storm Spirit and what the Lion is doing. They're basically throwing their life away and trading kills, basically. They did a 1-for-1 trade against the Tinker. I think earlier they did a 1-for-1 trade against the Sand King. They did a trade against the Tinker. Sure, they're not really accruing the most amount of gold and EXP, but they're applying so much pressure so that these guys could never group up as 5. You gotta keep in mind, when Complexity group up as 5, they're probably stronger. Maybe not now, but 15 minutes ago, or at least 10 minutes ago, they're definitely a lot stronger when grouped up as 5. They have a lot more AoE. Their stuns and disables are a little bit more disruptive. So if Complexity ever decides to go all 5 mid, they are going to just do a big number, but they can't. They can't. That's a key word because Storm and Lion is doing a very good job kind of spreading them out. King J is pushing up bot, and of course Lone Druid is pushing up top. He's so tanky at this point. What Necro is that? That's Necro 3 finish. He's sitting about 2k HP and he hasn't even picked up his last level of his ultimate. He's going to be sitting around 2400 or very close to it, and I think he's basically unkillable. You gotta just throw about 8 spells, 9 spells on him in every single team fight, and even if you kill him by then, it's just basically not worth it. So far, King J and his teammate doing a very good job stretching the map. And again, let's go back to the previous question I kind of posed to you guys. What do we do if we don't have the late game advantage, right? Assuming that we're operating under a clock, King J and you can't just farm all day. Oh my god, they're trying to get King J, which is extremely difficult. He's moving very fast. What do you do if you're not the Lone Druid? What do you do if you're not the Brood? Well, I talked about the Storm Spirit and Line kind of moving the map very aggressively. We're going to see a big team fight breakout right here. TC perhaps trying to TP. He's trying to defend the top. And suddenly TC gets Hex, he gets Zip, Silence, and he's done. Meanwhile, Broodmother is drawing the attention of a couple of heroes. And suddenly we don't have anyone defending. And the pressure is on. Lone Druid working on this tower. Huge epicenter from Fluff. That's going to slow him down. And look at how tanky Lamb is. Level 16, 2300 HP. He's got the Necro book. He popped it. He doesn't die because he's going to get sent back. QQ is going to be fine. The global presence of Hannah is not going to do too much. Again, they all have teleport scrolls, but they just can't get the kill. And now we are moving in a stage in the game where eHome could actually take those 4v5 fights. Remember, eHome wasn't pushing 10 minutes ago because, well, Lone Druid wasn't that tough then. He actually can take 4v5. Now, he can, and now you can see him doing exactly that. As soon as he see a big distraction going on here, a big team fight going on here, he's going to do this. And same thing with the Broodmother. As soon as he's going to see some type of distraction over here, he's going to be doing this. So it's going to be such an annoying tactic. Imagine you're playing against this in a public game. And as well coordinated as Complexity is, they're having a tough time with two global heroes rotating. And again, X doing this. Sure, the gank did not go off. That's fine. But applying the pressure, constantly making sure that you're not only are you TPing by yourself, you're TPing with at least 2 or 3 friends. Because if you TP in by yourself, that Storm Spirit is coming for you. X is coming for you. So if you want to defend one lane, you have to at least have 2 or 3 heroes. But again, if you defend with 2 or 3, Where's that lone druid? He's up top. So it's really picking your poison, and I really need to get rid of this menu. It's really picking your poison for complexity, and I understand, you know, a lot of players when they're watching this kind of replay, they're like, my god, this game is boring, Chinese are roaming and farming. In 28 minutes, we have 24 kills, like less than 1 minute per kill. But really, when you sit down and watch all the small, intricate play, it all makes sense. You're like, wow, this makes sense. Why don't I do this in pubs? Why don't we see more teams doing it? It's so actually difficult to execute. Your two players on the sideline have to have the map awareness of gods. You can't get picked off. Your supports have to be rewarding very aggressively. Very, very aggressively. Your supports have to be ganking his way to a blink dagger while supplementing wards. Your Stormster had to be trading his life, again, diving very aggressively, but still have to farm to get up to Orchids and BKB. It's such a fine top level play that not many teams can mimic, and that's why we don't see too many teams doing this. It's very, very boring, it's very, very methodical, but it's very, very powerful play when you do get it right. Again, there's global heroes on complexity, but they can't even go past a river. They can't even push your equilibrium past the river, and suddenly it's a Broodmother that's going in. Broodmother's going to draw a teleport scroll too. It's going to be absolutely fine. Use the trees to destroy. He's going to back off. That drew at least 2 teleport scrolls. And then suddenly Lone Druid is going to be pushing up top. I mean, jokingly, we have a lot of menus, right? Oh, current level and current last hits and all that stuff. I actually want to see, like, just curious, I want to know how much gold that Complexity has spent on teleport scrolls, because I'm pretty sure we're in like 6, 7, like high thousands, because they've been TPing everywhere. And that's well, I mean, you have teleport TP, and you have Butcher Travel TP, but for the most part, the rest of the 3 guys, they're spending thousands in terms of TP. And it's really rough. And again, Fluff and stuff trying to defend by himself, and this is exactly what I mean. You try to defend by yourself, you can't, because X is there, Storm is there. So what do you do? What do you really do if you're Complexity? You can't do too much. Oh, they want to start a team fight here? Oh, Prophet trying to get the Sprout. Look at what this is doing. King J says, alright, you're not here. So we're pushing. We're pushing. And suddenly, this doesn't seem like a 4v5 Dota anymore. This is like a really 5v5 Dota, at least where eHome is concerned, as we see a big team fight going on. PCT is it's gonna be fine, because we're gonna see a little bit in Tango and all that jazz. Yeah, suddenly we're seeing a 4v5 Dota transitioning to a full-scale 5v5. It seems like eHome has 7 players, or they have 7 heroes, because they're completely outnumbering Complexity everywhere they go. As I'm talking, a team fight breaks on top. King J is right back at this tier 2 tower, so very low. J out of mana for a laser. I think after a couple more rounds of attacks, that tower will be going down. It's slow, it's methodical, but eHome is bringing the bacon home. So for the 4th time, and hopefully the final time, I'm gonna go back to my point. What should you be doing if you're not the Lone Druid? Or yeah, if you're not the Lone Druid, if you're not the Brute, what should you be doing throughout all of this? Well, I know this sounds like, well, duh. You should be proactive. What I mean by proactive is doing something for your team. Don't be a dead weight to your team. Being a dead weight is charging down the mid lane and getting picked off as a line. Not only do you not apply any pressure, you actually alleviate pressure because you're dead, and then they could actually play against you 5v4 for a good duration. Being proactive, I mean dropping very aggressive wards on position like this. Keep setting up ganks. Just park yourself on these side lanes, on these spots, and as soon as you see Lone Druid in a little bit of trouble, well, just basically go jump in and gank. If the Complexity decides to go all 5-man kill you on Lamb, that's fine. Lamb might die and might pay his price, but suddenly King J is pressuring up bot. So basically, because of the way that eHome is playing right now, Complexity's got no chance. Again, not to say that Complexity is playing poorly. They're playing as well as they could with 2 global hero. They just can't keep up with the pressure. 4v5 really, 4+1 Dota, whatever you want to call it. The strength of this lineup, the strength of the way of playing this game like this, is that you apply pressure in multiple junctions of the map, and the enemy hero can't ever deal with it. Looks like Slitherbear is going to just ram his way up that hill. Going to be slowly working on this, killing all these wards. Again, Epicenter just on a single hero. Lamb doesn't really care. He's going to eat a Hand of God. He's going to get sent back. And again, that's 3 or 4 heroes trying to defend this. Broodmother, look at what he's doing. Sending spiderlings in. He's going to go right in. I feel like a broken manor. Or it's a broken record. I don't even know how I got manor there. I feel like a broken record. Now let's for a moment assume that we're not looking at things like Lone Druid or not looking at things like Broodmother. What do you do if you're Morphling, right? What do you do if you're Anti-Mage? What do you do if you're Weaver? I think for the most part, it's pretty much the same thing. Now, of course, each hero have their own advantages and disadvantages. For example, Anti-Mage could duck in the jungle and farm a little bit more aggressively. Anti-Mage is a later game hero, so he could, rise for a longer period of time should your team need to do so. Morphling is one of the better assassinating hero. He could go for the late game hard carry if he wants to do so. So very similar to Anti-Mage, should drag out the game very much so if he wants. He could pick up a Ethereal Blade and start hunting. If someone comes to defend against a Morphling, you kill him with the Ethereal Blade. So for the most part though, it's the same thing. If you're playing this kind of a 4v5 Dota or a 4+1 strat of Dota, you basically fight you basically use your mobility to your advantage. A big team fight breaks out, which I don't particularly care how this team fight breaks out. Storm's gonna die. Lion's gonna get sent back, so he's gonna be fine. Storm's gonna be going for a couple more kills, one against Jo. But the thing is, look at the minimap. Broodmother's slowly accruing more spiralings. He's gonna jump right in. Again, no matter how this team fight goes, doesn't matter. You can see that TC full HP. He's gonna have to port back and defend this. Tower gonna get destroyed. Broodmother sees a couple of TP. He's gonna back off for now. Picks up a Mantis Tower after Basher. Now the Basher is a little bit odd choice. I don't think you want to build Basher normally on Broodmother, but I think he built it against the Sven because Sven kind of right clicks pretty hard. But the Mantis Tower I like the choice a lot because he's gonna be right clicking Rexus. Pops a BKB. Gonna be backing off, moving about almost maximum movement speed, so you can't even catch up to her. So, very, very similar to this kind of play. If you're playing the Morphling, if you're playing the Anti-Mage, Weaver, if you're playing a hero with very, very good survivability and you're the carry, basically, do this all day, man. Do this all day. Find a friend that's going to be doing this on top, and then you could be doing this on the bottom. Now, in this game, we see kind of, one here, and then one here, and basically 3 supports roaming. We've seen teams do like 4 here, a true 4+1 strat. You got 4 guys, Enigma, TIE Hunter, Beastmaster on top, and then you just put your Morphling on bot, pushing a bot, and suddenly again, same thing, the defending team says, where do we defend? And the answer is, you can't really defend anywhere. The game is going to be winding down, although the game does go on for quite a little bit longer. But you can see that Ehome is really in a dominating position. Now, remember what I said earlier, Broodmother would really never TP unless it's for a Rax defense or a Roshan defense, and here comes that Rosh defense. Broodmother is going to be finally TPing for the first time in like 30 minutes. Big team fight breaks out here. Stormster in a little bit of trouble, and Sven's BKB is almost running out. QQQ in a little bit of trouble. He's gonna get a huge crit down. Double kill here for Sven. Looks like it's pretty good so far, but Broodmother now finally has joined the party. He's just killing TC. TC gets a triple, but now King J with his BKB just going to work. Gets a double so far. Gonna be, Fluff and Stuff does channel a decent ultimate on King J, but King J doesn't really care. Even though he doesn't even have the ultimate, he doesn't have the lifesteal. From his ultimate, he has the Vlad's lifesteal, so that will be enough. Triple kill from King J. And yeah, the game's pretty much over. Ehome takes about an hour, 8 hours more to really take down all the Raxes, although the creeps are doing a very good job at doing so right now. But eventually they do win. Slowly sieging one tower at a time, one Rax at a time. And yeah, that's going to conclude this 4v5. If we want to conclude and summarize what we got here so far, couple of things. If you're playing the carry, do utilize the jungle. Utilize it fully. I want to point out again, when we first started this, King J was very, very far behind in terms of farm, but he caught up, and he caught up very, very quickly, in 12 minutes time to be exact, because he was just farming these camps immensely. And you don't have to be a Broodmother to do this. Morphling could jungle just as well. Anti-Mage especially jungles beautifully when you have that Battle Fury. So utilize the jungle. Not only are you going to get yourself more farm, but also you're going to be less susceptible to ganks. Again, if you're going to park yourself all day here, you are going to get ganked. Excuse me. Now, if you're not playing the carry, you want to be proactive. You want to be dropping wards defensively for your teammates or aggressively to set up future ganks, or you want to just basically smoke behind Brood. Like, if Brood's doing this thing here, you can even stand here and smoke up. As soon as they want to jump on your carry, and trust me, they will want to do so, you basically counter gank the hell out of them. And because you're applying pressure all over the map, you're going to win eventually with more gold, with more item, and all that jazz. So, yeah, I think we're pretty much done here. And it's a good time to move into the question if you want to ask a little bit more about 4.5 v5 Dota. Generally, I look at about 2 or 3 replays, but I thought it was kind of pointless because, sure, we're going to look at an Anti-Mage replay, but But it's going to be anti-mage doing the exact same thing. We're going to be farming the lane, and they come gank me, I blink away. Pretty much the same thing. Morphling, I'm farming in the lane, they come gank me, I wait for him away. Meanwhile, his teammates doing very, very proactive thing, like warding, counter warding, all that jazz. So, it's pretty much the same thing. So for this one, I just kind of went with a one replay, because all the other replay will show you a different hero doing the exact same thing. It's a very, very strong tactic, especially in the lower level games, because it's so hard for them to rotate to different towers, because they will just forget to rotate, and they're going to lose outer towers. One of the best way to grab outer towers in public games, if you're playing with a couple of friends who can coordinate. So we are at question time, if we have any questions. Looks like so far we don't. As we're waiting for question time, will be a good time to talk about the Dota show in general. If this was the first time you're watching the Dota show, tell your friends. We're not going to be doing this kind of in-depth analysis every single day. We have different stuff each and every day. Tomorrow we're going to do a very specific hero analysis. It's going to be done by LD. LD didn't tell me exactly what hero is going to be working on, but it's a good way to learn about particular heroes if you're pretty sketchy about it. Last time I think we had Morphling. Time before that we have Windrunner. So that's tomorrow on LD's channel. On Thursday we have a challenge, and I've been told that the challenge was very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. The show starts from Sunday to Thursday, every 7 Pacific. We started a little bit late tonight because I was preparing for like my family, playing those rooster games. Oh, that sounds really wrong. Alright, seems like we don't really have a question. I want to say that I did a pretty thorough job, if I may say so, explaining all this stuff. And that's it. We're pretty much done. Hope you guys enjoy the show. And if you want to have more feedback, PM me on YouTube. That's the best way to reach me. And until next time, this is Luminous, signing out to you guys.